games. It's ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have the next installment of my Understand How to Build series, where I go over all the leaders in a given set to help you understand how to build them to suit you and your playstyle. So we've covered Darth Maul already, so we've covered one half of the villain leaders in aggression. Now we're on to the next one, being Third Sister. So if you're interested, then stay tuned, and also don't forget you can like, comment and subscribe to keep updated with my videos as and when they drop, and by clicking that notification bell you can also get alerts to when videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then or at a later time that suits you best. So with that all out of the way, let's get into it and help you understand how to build Third Sister. So first thing we're going to do is cover the leader, as Star Wars Unlimited is a leader-based game, and it's better to understand what the leader does so you can build it around it better, because you're going to be able to round them normally, and their effects are what's going to influence which one you pick. So for Third Sister, she is quite fortunate in that she doesn't use a new mechanic. Even the new mechanic is great, it is a really good mechanic, she doesn't need to use it, so she's got the benefit of not needing to incorporate some of the force things or force token mechanics, while also incorporating anything else she wants to. Now she's pretty cool because she does deploy quite early at 5 resources, so not too early but early enough, and that means that basically once she gets 5 resources down, she can then jump out and join the battle in the ground arena. She does come down as a 5-4, so it's not the best stats. Her power is pretty good, 5 power is very strong, but the 4 health is what makes it not so great, because at 4 health it's susceptible to quite a few different means of removal. Like you've got open fire in red that can just do 4 damage to her, basically when she deploys, or even things like force choke and even takedown. So there's a few cards that can just defeat her as soon as she deploys, which is not great. You want more health so that way you're out of the way of those kind of effects. But she does have some good traits, like she has the force trait like all leaders in the set, she's got a benefit of that. She's got Imperial, which does have some really good benefits from the Villainy side, and Inquisitor, which doesn't have many, but it is another trait because she is an Inquisitor. So her effect is all about doing like using the new keyword hidden, and basically giving units that so they can stay out the way hidden, prevented from attacking into, essentially. So the new mechanic hidden, essentially when a unit is played with hidden, it can't be attacked that phase the turn it's played. So she's got the ability to give units hidden, and even has hidden herself, so when she's deployed she has hidden, so she can't be attacked the turn she's deployed, which is fantastic. Now some leaders do have effects where they differ, they change when they deploy, but hers stays the same, just a different trigger. So when she's in the leader area, she's an action where you need to tap her to be able to play a unit from your hand and give it hidden for that phase. So you play a card with hidden so it can be attacked into, which is cool. And then when she's deployed, she gets the same effect, but now she has to attack, and the next time you would play a unit, it gains hidden. So when she attacks, she basically makes something come in with hidden when it's played for the next thing you play. So that's not too bad. She also does come in with the aggression and Villainy aspects, those are the aspects she's given, and the art is pretty good on the card as well. So a very simplistic leader, doesn't really need to use force mechanic, it's all about playing units with hidden so they can't be attacked into, so they kind of survive a turn. But she is susceptible to removal in that is outside combat. While she can't be attacked into, she's deployed, she can still be removed by effects. Also note that every leader has a showcase, and this is Third Sister's. Now it's not the most impressive one, but it's pretty cool. It takes me back to being more comic book style, which is cool. Very nice, because there are comics for Star Wars. And do remember that showcase is just alternative art, and that means they are like a more shiny, higher rarity art that you can get, so you can basically maximize the rarity of your deck. But remember, as a showcase, it's just alternative art. Art is subjective. The only opinion that matters is yours, because you'll be on playing it. So if you like it, fair enough. If you don't like it, fair enough. It's up to you, since you'll be playing the leader. So that is it over the leader. Now let's get into the rest of the video and help understand how to build her. So normally I would put in the basic, like learning the basics, covering the basics of the game, so things like bases, aspects, ratios, things like that. So if you're a brand new player to TCGs or the Star Wars Unlimited, you have all the information you need in the get-go in one video. But it is quite repetitive in every video, to like repeating the same information every video and do it over and over again. And I did get some, even though a lot of the feedback was positive about it being included to help out newer players, there were some comments where people didn't realize how to use chapters, so they can't skip over it, because I do put chapters in all the videos. So what I've decided to do is take it out of the video, so that way it's a little bit less strain on me repeating myself in every video the same. And instead what I've been doing it now from this set is doing a understanding the basics video, which I do for every set, to help you understand the basics of the game, so that way even if you have to go to, like, it does suck you have to go to a separate video, but it explains all the basics of the game from up to that set. So since I haven't done anything for the previous sets, but we'll be doing one in the future to be like a bit shorter, but for this one it's covering all the basics of the game, starting with set 5, especially since there's a new mechanic in this game. So if you want to check that out, there should be a card that's shown in the up the top near there somewhere that you can click on to check out the video. So if you're brand new or new to games or even TCGs, go check that out and then come back and I'll help you understand how to build for sister. But if you're more of a veteran, don't need that, let's move on. So the number of options you have for any leader is varied. Like, typically there is actually 5, but the 5th option is just 2 aspects, because there is a base from set 4 that has no aspect on it whatsoever, so you can basically put that on to have more health, but you lose an aspect, but you only have 2 accessible, which is what comes on your leader. For sister it's aggression and villainy, but if you put another base to it on any other basis, then you get a 3rd aspect. Now there are going to be leaders that can go way down to 1 aspect, which is like hardcore mode, but we'll get to that when we get to them. But for first sister, there are 4 options you can have for their aspect combinations. So depending on what base you have, you can go for either double red, red blue, red green, or red yellow, because you get the aspects of red and red and black, or aggression and villainy from first sister, and depending on what base you have, you got the other option. So what we're going to do for each of these 4 options, we're going to go through them to kind of see what's available in those aspects and if it's beneficial for a sister. So first we're going to start off with the double aggression, because that's the smaller of the card pools. So the first part of aggression we want to go over is the bases, because there are different bases you can have. Now if you want to go for the force, you don't have to remember with first sister, but you can have the force. So if you want to use the force, there are 2 options. There's the typical common base that every aspect has, which attack with a force unit, gain the force. The other option is the rare base, which vary depending on the aspect. So for red, it is aggression or temple destruction. They're all 25 health bases. They have different ways to gain the force. And for both of reds, they both rely on attacking, but for temple destruction, it requires you to have one of your units do 3 or more combat damage to an enemy base to gain the force. So both require to attack, just they require different things. With a force base, the common force base like Forces Vader and Stranglehold Cliffs, they both need just a force unit to attack, not do any certain amount of damage to attack, gain the force. Whereas temple destruction, anything can attack that gain you the force, as long as it can do 3 or more combat damage to a base. So depends on what you want there for a force base. Now, other bases we have is Tarkin Town, which is a nice little base as a one-time use effect, where it can do 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit to kind of finish something off you just short of taking out. You've got Thermorph Slayer as well, which can reduce the deck size of your deck. So minimum deck size goes from 50 to 45 with this base, but that's it, but you have a lower health. Or you just have the normal 30 health base to have the in the red anyway, maximum amount of health for your base. So with Villainy cards, this is normally where you get the better cards for any of the leaders, and for aggression villainy, you got a lot of pretty strong stuff. As remember, aggression is a damage focused aspect, so it's all about power and aggression. So for units you have that you can potentially play out, you've got HK47 is a good turn 1 unit. It's one of the legendaries, but it's got solid stats. 2/4 is pretty solid. It's pretty good for now for turn 1 play. And anytime you defeat a unit, then you get to damage your opponent's base by 1. You also have other force units like Fifth Brother and Grand Inquisitor for your turn 2 onward plays. They both gain raid in some shape or form, but Grand Inquisitor comes in hidden, and they have pretty good stats to gain you basically swing as a force unit and gain the force or put the pressure on. You also have 7th Sister, which is never Inquisitor, where you get 5 resources, so you turn 4 onwards. She has Saboteur, so she can ignore Sentinels and defeat shields. And when she does damage to a base, you get the damage a ground unit your opponent controls. Then you have the top 2 dogs in Darth Vader and Palpatine being a more top end. Vader being just a vanilla unit at 6 cost 7/7. But the nice thing about him is he can planet himself as a upgrade onto a vehicle to kind of boost that unit's power, give it an ability. And then you got Palpatine, which is your more top end, which, while it doesn't have the best stats for its cost, you can throw out a load of 6 damage how you ever choose, and also has piercing as well. Now don't forget, You don't have to use the force reverse if you don't want to use all force units. You still have some other good units. And remember, you don't want to skip on the space because there are space aggro decks. So you got some good ones in aggression, like Kylo's TIE Silencer, Ruthless Raider, and Devastator being very solid ones. Kylo's TIE Silencer is a very good turn 1 unit and even anti-hand control, where if it's discarded from your hand, you can play it from your discard that turn. You also have Ruthless Raider, which does 2 damage to a unit and a base when it's played or when it's defeated, so it's quite an annoying one as soon as it hits the board. And you got Devastator, which can throw out some indirect damage, 4 indirect damage to your opponent, or however you choose, to your opponent yourself. And normally indirect damage, the receiver of the indirect damage chooses where the damage goes, which can also bypass shields, or go through shields without affecting them. But Devastator's got a nice unique effect where any indirect damage you assign to your opponent, then you get to choose where it goes. So you get to assign where it goes when you do it to your opponent. You also got some good events and upgrades as well. Like Fallen Lightsaber is one of the lightsaber upgrades you've got. There's quite a few in this new set, and it's a very strong one. A 3-cost 3/3 that can then give the benefit of a force unit that attacks with this equipped, the ability to do 1 damage to each of your opponent's ground units. Then you have Force Lightning, Force Choke as damaging effects. Force Lightning, as a general thing, just takes away abilities from units. But if you have a Force unit and put more resources into it, it can do damage for each one. And then you got Force Choke as well, being just a clear 5 damage to anything that's not a vehicle. It doesn't get a reduced cost if you've got a Force unit, but the controller of that unit you damage gets to draw a card. Now in a normal aggression, that's where you get some pretty nice cards as well, but not as many strong ones, or not as many like powerful ones as in the Villainy side. But you get some good ones as well. So you get Force units like Jedi in Hiding, Quinlan Voss, and Asajj Ventress being very solid ones. Offer some good things like Jedi in Hiding already comes in hidden, but then he's got the ability to use the Force if you want to use that to make your opponent discard cards, a bit of hand control. Whereas Quinlan and Asajj complement each other, where Quinlan does 2 damage to your opponent's base when its power is 6 or more on attacking, and Asajj can facilitate that by when she's played or when she attacks, boost the Force unit by 2 power and 2. I think it's 2 power and 2 health. I can't remember if it's 2 power, 2 health, or just 2 power, but she facilitates him to have that effect trigger. You have some non-force units, like you have Saving Fang Fighter as a way to just hit, like take away or knock off upgrades, which is what Red's kind of one of its identities is upgrade hate. You got Cham Syndulla, or Cham Syndulla, that's the one, where he's more ramp outside of green, where if your opponent's up on has more resources than you, if they're up on resources, when it's played you can ramp from the top of your deck. And you have Crate Dragon being the top end, which when you get the later game you can cut this down, and anytime your opponent will play a card, damage either one of their ground units or their base by how much that new card cost. Now for events you got some pretty good ones. You also got Hotshot Blaster, which even though this is typically one for Cunning, because you mainly want to use it in Smuggle, because Smuggle allows you to equip it and attack with it in that same one action, whereas to do it normally you have to equip it as one action, attack is the second one, so doing it all in one you need Cunning for that, otherwise you're paying more. But some people are also playing it out of aspect now, so you can because being able to attack and have a boost on that attack, especially from the resources, is sometimes worth paying 5 instead of 3. And also for the damaging events as well, because there are a lot of damage events. Aggression, you have Force Throw, Daring Raid, Open Fire, Bomb and Run, and Planted Bombardment as some examples. Force Throw is one that is very powerful and one of the most hyped for the set that people even want to ban, because it's effect that just for one, choose player, discard a card, it can be you or your opponent, and if you control a Force unit, you can then also do damage equal to the cost of the card that was discarded. So you can make your opponent discard a card just to make him lose a card and damage a unit, or discard Force Throw yourself. So you can choose what's discarded, so you can choose how much damage is dealt, like throwing Crate Dragon to guarantee 9 damage done. You also have things like Daring Raid doing 2 damage for 1 resource, Open Fire doing 4 for 3 resources, Bomb and Run for 5 doing 3 to everything in that one arena of a ground of space, and Planted Bombardment throwing at 8 indirect damage to a player. But if you control a capital ship, it's 12 instead. An indirect damage, remember, the person who it's been assigned to chooses where it goes. So you got to think about with aggression. That's pretty strong. There's some pretty nice cards in there, but don't forget there are also Villainy cards. You get Villainy is one of those aspects, along with Heroism, which are unique in that they're not only just partner with a different aspect, they have their own cards as well. So like all the other aspects, they have their own aspects, but they're also partnered as well. And you got some pretty nice ones. You got some things like Snowtrooper Lieutenant, which makes use of the Imperial trait by being a nice battle trick. Same with TIE Advance, where it can buff up something that has the Imperial trait. So these partner pretty well with Third Sister. You also have Dark Tyrannus, which is a shielded unit, but if you control the Force, so use the Force as a mechanic as well, it can gain ambush. Then you have Execute Order 66, which is a nice removal for those Jedi units and leaders, which is cool. So that's all the stuff that Third Sister comes with. Now let's go into like the double aspect of double aggression to see if that's a valid option. So for double aspect, it's a smaller card pool because of the fact that you're sacrificing a whole other aspect in Vigilance, Cunning, and Command to have access to a few cards that are double aspect. And for red, it's the smaller of the card pools because unlike the rest, which have 12, red only has 11. So we got shafted a little bit by having one less in this recent set than the other 3 aspects. And not only that, but it's probably the weakest of the double aspect because its cards are just very lackluster and not as great for what it wants to do compared to the other ones. With the other ones, they can be good standalone and actually had double aspect decks throughout the game in various forms in multiple different leaders. Whereas double aspect for red does have that, but then more glass cannon off meta decks that kind of will, if you can adapt to them or kind of stabilize against them, then they just falter and just wither. Now for double aspect in double red, you got to think about, is it worth it? Because remember, you're losing access to a whole other aspect for these 11 cards, and are these 11 cards going to benefit the leader in a good way? Now of these 11, these are what I feel are useful for Third Sister, and that is 6 of them. So more than half, since it's an odd number, you got some pretty nice ones. Like you got the aggression, which is a very good option. It's upgrade hate, which is a good amount of upgrade hate. Drawing, restanding things that have 3 costs or more, or even dealing damage to units as well. So a good amount of options. You pick any 2 of the 4 and resolve them how you choose. And you also got Ties to Pride, which can give you a lot of power by giving the unit 4 extra power, but dealing 2 damage, which can trigger things like grit and stuff, so it could be useful. For units, you got things like Mr. Bones, Bo-Katan, Relentless Fire Spray, and Paz Visitor, some pretty good options. Bo-Katan being a solid turn 1 unit with solid stats. So Mr. Bones being a 1-cost cheap unit with a good amount of power, but very weak on the health. But if you have no cards in hand, he can do even more damage by on attack, dealing 3 damage to a ground unit while he has no cards in hand. You also got Relentless Fire Spray, which is not too bad a card. It's not great, but it's not too bad, because it can attack twice in a row, but you have to wait a turn because it needs to attack to basically ready itself, which is going to come in rest at the first time because there's no way to play it in active in double red. So you have to wait a turn, but you can get more benefits from that, because then you can have resources to then attack with a boost, then restand it, and then swing again. And you got Paz Visitor, who can become a powerhouse. By every damage he takes, he gains 2 more power. So the maximum you can take before he dies, because he's only got 6 health, is 5 damage, which would convert that 5 damage into 10 power. So you can be, with 5 damage on, a 13 powered 1 health unit. So are those 6 cards worth going double aspect? I would say, while they're not the best, it is a valid option for Third Sister, because she's very flexible. She doesn't have to use any mechanics. She's got no the only thing she doesn't require a certain aspect trait or anything like that. She's just all about playing things hidden, so you can kind of not be attacked into, so you can survive a little bit longer and can make good use of the red, I reckon. So let's move to Vigilance. So with Vigilance, this is more of a defensive aspect because it's all about healing, removal, and defense. Now, for the bases you got the Force base options. So you got the standard attack with the Force unit for the common base, and the other way to gain the Force is for the rare base, which once again 25 health, and it can gain you the Force before your turn starts, but only once a turn, because its effect is when the regroup phase starts at the end of your turn. If you control a unit with 4 or more health, you gain the Force. So you gain the Force once a turn, but it's more guaranteed that before you start your turn, your next turn anyway, you have the Force. So pretty easy way to sustain it, but then it can be easily prevented, which could be a pain. You also have the other bases. Remember, if you don't use the Force, you have other bases. You have Colossus, which is the most health in the game, but it restricts your hand size for that extra 5 health by making your hang 5 cards instead of 6. You have Pal City, which can give Third Sister 1 more health while she's deployed, which doesn't really put it in the great spot because she's only going to have 4 to 5, which is still within range of things you don't take her out. And then you have the 30 health bases if you feel none of those are useful and just want the standard effect, good amount of health with no effect. Now, anytime we go over blue, we're going to cover Anakin because it's a powerful legendary from the new set, which is very strong. Probably the best in the set. Yeah, actually is the best in the set. And there's going to be one to facilitate its full effect because it's got 2 win plates. They require a certain card in discard pile to gain the effect, and that effect is to give a unit -3 power and 3 health. Now, the cards you need in your discard pile are Heroism card for 1 and a Villainy card for the other. And those cards don't match together because you're either playing Heroism or Villainy depending on your leader, because your leader has one or the other. But this kind of rewards you for having both in one deck. So people are incorporating the other aspect of whatever the leader has in their deck so they can facilitate this and get the full effect, because -6/6 on play is very strong. And there are some colors or some leaders that can do it better than others. Like in red, you've got some pretty good options, because in Villainy side, you've got Kiani Monday if you want to put a Heroism one in, because it can make more use of the Force by giving you its effect, which on the play, use the Force to draw 2 cards. Draw more cards, put a unit on play, and a Heroism unit, which is going to then good stats for its cost, and also when defeated, is going to be in your deck, in your drop ready for Anakin. You have Merrin, which has a way to discard a Heroism card, so that way you can discard it, do damage, and then get it set up. You even have Force Throw, so you can Force Throw, remember you can Force Throw yourself, discard your Heroism card you have in your hand, to do damage, and also get that set up for Anakin. So easy ways for red to incorporate Anakin. Now for Villainy cards and Vigilance, you've got some really good ones, especially for the Force as well. And since you don't need to use the Force mechanic, or you've got a certain trait or anything you want to go for, you've got some good options. You have good turn 1 options like Pershing and Karis as good units that either draw more cards and be more control with Pershing, or be more like productive and actually try to push damage through like attacking with Karis and also make use of the Force. You also have Magistrate Scout, which is a pretty nice one. Solid like Yoda stats in Villainy will also restore 2. There's no replace this off by drawing a card, but solid stats there. And Imperial, once you bring this in with Hidden, make it so it kept you attack the same turn, and then power up all those Imperial cards as well if you want to. You can probably need some healing to last longer. You have Talisman Assassin and Long Pike as some 4 costs, so you use the Force of Talisman to minus stats, whereas Long Pike can then start shielding up yours and your opponent's units and making sure you're protected, which is cool. You have Old Daka as the top end for the Night Sister package, be able to defeat a unit with the Night trait and then replay it, so you can trigger things like Karis and Talisman Assassins when played and when defeated. You also have good spaceships as well, like Inferno 4 and Onyx Brute Squadron as turn 1 units, which get good effects. Inferno 4 may in the top 2 cards of your deck, whereas Onyx Squadron heals you. And then Devastating Gunship is a nice one to kind of have some removal, and plus great as well, so the more damage it takes, the stronger it gets. You also have good events as well to remove things like Paradox Side, force your opponent to defeat a unit. This is better the less units your opponent has, because the less units they have, the less options they have, which means it's more impactful. The more units they have, the less impactful, because they can just sack off the weakest thing. No Glory is a nice bit of removal that takes control, so you can get those when defeated for your opponent's units, and then Super Laser Blast is just a border wipe. Now in the non-Villainy side, that's where it kind of lacks a little bit, because the better sides of any aspect are in the Villainy or Heroism, but you have some good stuff in the aspects as well. Like you have the top row, which are all the units. You got Owen Lyres as a nice bit of healing, restore 2. Cheap unit, plus also when defeated you can find it from the top 5 of your decks a Force unit to kind of put those 4 synergies. You have Regional Governor as a way to shut things off being played from your opponent by calling something and it can't be played while it's on the board. You have Night Sister Warrior as a nice turn 1 Force unit that if defeated you get to draw a card. You have Ogdo, solid stats, but if you can just do a little bit of damage to it, which could be easy enough, then you can make it so it can actually attack, so it needs damage to attack. And you got Chirrut and Anakin, some good units. Chirrut being a very solid sentinel, better if you use the Force, and Anakin we've seen very powerful. You also have upgrades like Entrench, which can be useful, itself being a very offensive or defensive aspect to put on the deck, so you can use it defensively or offensively, which is cool. And you got good removal, like you got a lot of removal in like Shatterpoint, Takedown, Follow Dragon, Vanquish, and Ravel's Fall. All removal option, all removal of cards with varying costs and effects. Like how the 4-cost ones here can remove different kinds of units, like Shatterpoint can remove anything that's not a leader if you use Force. Takedown can take out anything that's 5 or less health, whereas Follow Dragon can take out anything that's not a leader that's got 5 or more power. Then you got Vanquish that for 1 more cost can defeat any non-leader unit, whereas Ravel's Fall at 6, so 1 higher than Vanquish takes out absolutely anything. So, is Vigilance a good option for Night Sister, for Third Sister? I would say yes, because she provides you with some good units. You've got some good force units in there as well. And if you want to go for the force, you also have some good units and imperial stuff as well. Play more of a controlling one, or even give you some healing if you feel like you want healing to survive longer. So that's Vigilance out of the way. Let's move on to command. So next up we have command, and this is the ramp aspect. So this is one that can increase your resources to play more things quicker or bigger things sooner. So for the bases, this is where you get the better stuff for command. The bases are probably the strongest in the game for command, whereas the leaders kind of lack a little bit. So for force options, you've got the standard attack with force unit common ones if you want to, and you've got a rare one. But for a rare one, this is pretty nice because its effect is just an action gain the force. So literally action gain the force, no needing to attack with anything or anything, just straight up gain the force by using action. The only problem is there is a downside to just gaining the force willy-nilly, and that's you can only use it 3 times a game. So if you don't need to use the force too much, since her sister doesn't use the force for her effect, if you don't want to use the force but don't want to use it too much, it could be a good option. Now if you want a non-force base, you've got things like Energy Conversion Lab, Data Vault, and those 30 health bases, which are all good. Energy Conversion Lab and Data Vault are both strong bases that have seen a lot of play throughout the game, being strong, being probably the strongest bases of their of certain metas. Like the early metas of set 1 and 2, ECL or Energy Conversion Lab was the best one, so you can give ambush to you can play a unit with ambush, and you still got pay the cost though. Then with Data Vault, this is one that gives you the most health in command, so 3 more health than usual, but your deck size is increased. So you go from a 30 health base, a 50 card minimum to a 60 card minimum, so 10 more cards in your deck. 30 health bases, they're just if you don't want any of these effects, you feel it's going to be useful, but want a clear amount of health, then you can go for that. And ramp cards you have access to are these 4. These are the more main ones. There are some other ones, but I can't remember exactly which ones they are, but these are the more consistent ones. The main ones you'll see and use are Super Laser Technician and Resupply, because they can be used as early as turn 2 and ramp pretty well. Like Resupply, nothing else to do, just you play it, you've ramped. Super Laser Technician, a little bit more to it. You play it out as a unit because it's a unit. They need to be defeated to ramp it, but then you can do everything like throw damage on it or ram it into things your opponent controls to be able to defeat it. And the nice benefit of this is the only one that comes in active ready to use straight away, whereas the rest, when they ramp, come in rested. You have Pricey Head, which is a cheaper one, but it has more steps, and then you have to put on a unit, then defeat that unit to be able to gain the ramp. So more steps to that than the other 2. And you have Resupply Carrot, which is also a pretty simple one, play it, ramp, but it's a high costing card at 6, so it's more of a later game ramp than an early one. Now for Villainy, you have some pretty strong cards. You have some pretty useful ones. You have a lot of Imperials as well, which is good. So you have most of these units are Imperial, all of them apart from Crumb. But Crumb is a nice one because it can get you some pinging damage and works pretty well if you play this turn 1 and Super Laser Technician turn 2. You can use it to force the ramp of Super Laser Technician straight away. You have some good troopers for a good trooper focus. If you go with Phase 3 Dark Trooper and Captain Eon, they're nice beneficial. Phase 3 Dark Trooper is a nice free cost, free sentinel that anytime it is dealt damage but survives that attack, it gains an experience. And Captain Eon gains an extra 1 power for every trooper in your discard pile. And there are a lot of troopers in the dark side, so you can make a pretty good trooper focus deck, so you can become huge. You also got your ambush force units in 8th Brother and Darth Vader for Imperial focus. You do have Samoa as well. These are nice ones because they attack him in the blade and have benefits like Darth Vader playing more cards than its cost, and 8th Brother being able to use the Force if you want to kind of make things stronger. You have Grand Moff Tarkin as a way to kind of search Imperial cards as well, not just units but Imperial cards, because there are some cards that are not units that are Imperial. And you got some good top end spaceships like Relentless and Devastator being your good top end. You also have good events like you have Craven Power and Everyone Barrage are similar cards. Both do similar things just differently. They both are 5 cost cards that buff something by 2/2, but in their effects change a little bit. Where Overwhelm Barrage gives a unit a temporary 2/2 boost, but then gets to do its power as damage however you choose, so you can spread it out how you like. Whereas Craven Power gives a permanent 2/2 boost because it's an upgrade, but then deals damage to 1 unit. And then lastly, you have Palpatine's Return, which is a revival event to bring back anything you discard pile as long as you pay the cost, and it does at a 6 cost reduction. Now in normal command, this is where you have less things, and probably see things being the same for most leaders, but you have some good options. You have good early turn units like Colonel Yalar and Huyang, Maz Kanata. That's good units. Aren't force units or Imperials, but Colonel Yalar gives you healing, Huyang gives buff something while it stays on the board, and then Maz Kanata is a battle trick, so attacking will be a force unit, but giving it more power for that attack. You have some good ambush as well, like Jedi Temple Guards, Agent Callus, and Tarantarak in different kind of ways, whereas Temple Guardians is a weaker one, but more bulky, where it can also ambush, but also resource too, so it can also gain you force attacking bases. Agent Callus isn't a force unit, but he's Imperial Trooper with ambush, and if another unique unit is defeated, you get to draw a card. And then you got Tarantarak, which is more of a force ambusher against force decks. You also have your vehicles, Resupply Carrier and Reinforcement Walker is your more top end, where Resupply Carrier is ramp, and Reinforcement Walker is a big endgame unit where when he's played or attacks, you can either draw a card and add it to your hand, or discard the top card of your deck and then basically heal free from your base. You have some good events and upgrades like Traitor Speed, one that can snatch small units, whereas Time Invention can allow you to ambush with any unit by using this card before it. So you allows you to play a unit with ambush as long as you pay its cost. You've got Ramp and Resupply, which is a pretty simple and easy one. In most decks, it's run, and Choose Sides, which allows you to switch control of a unit both you and your opponent controls of your choosings. So is Command a good option for third system? I would say yeah, because you've got some really good units in there, some really good Villainy side stuff, and also you can make a pretty nice Imperial focus on it, give Imperial searches and some Imperial cards in just Villainy as well. So that is Command. Let's go to the last aspect in Cunning. So lastly for Cunning, this is one where the units and the cards and the leaders are very strong, but the bases are lacking. So it's opposite the green, where the leaders are very strong, where even some of them are bad. Well, green, where the leaders are very bad, or not bad, but not great, very weak. But the bases are very strong, very popular. The reverse is for Cunning, where the leaders are really, really strong, so much that 2 of them are banned, where the bases are very lackluster. So the force ones, you've got Holy City and Crystal Caves is just normal attack with force unit to gain the force. The rare one requires you to exhaust the unit to gain the force. So you can gain the force without needing to attack, but then if you're exhausting a unit for this, you could just use that unit to attack with. So it's not a great base compared to it, and plus if you're not just tapping a unit down, you're not really making use of it. There's not many units that don't need to attack or do anything like that to be useful, so it's not the best. And for the other bases, you've got things like Petronac Arena, which gives nice First Sister a bit more power, like extra 1 power for once she's deployed, but that's not making up for a small health. You also got the Battle Village, which can increase the consistency of your opening hand by giving you 9 cards in your hand, so extra 3 instead of 6. But you don't have any mulligan. You don't have a mulligan, but you open with 9 cards instead of 6. But you don't get to keep those cards because at the start of your first turn, you need to put 3 of them back to the bottom of your deck. So you don't get to keep the 3 extra cards, but it does mean you've got more cards in one go to increase your consistency. And then you've got the 3 health bases, which are the standard if you feel like none of these are useful. So for Villainy, there is not too much of a force focus, or many force units in Cunning. It's more of an underworld focused aspect. There's a lot of underworld cards. Since the beginning of the game, most sets is more of an underworld focus with that trait, which shown a lot of the criminal unit, criminal characters from Star Wars. You do have some force units, like you've got Shin Hati, Second Sister, and in the Skull in the Villainy side of Cunning, but you're very limited on your options. But there are some good ones, like Shin Hati is a very strong one, having hidden and also shielded. It's pretty cool. You also have, for the non-force units, that like the underworld ones, you've got tier 1 units like Bazine and Aura Singh, which are pretty strong ones, like having hand control or even just a good unit tier 1. You have the combo of Forlom and Zuckuss, which is a very good one, which basically anytime one of them is out, you're fearing the everyone's going to come down. More Forlom is going to bring down Zuckuss with ambush. You have Bosk as well as a nice ambusher that every time you use an event, you get to deal 2 damage to a unit, and there's a lot of good events in both aggression and also Cunning. And you have Cab Beam in your top end. You're going to snatch a couple of a certain amount of units on board when it's played, and also give them back if they get you draw 2 cards. Now for non-unit, like upgrades and events, you got some pretty good ones. You got Frozen Carbonite being a good, nice, controlling, stally kind of upgrade, where it basically Frozen Carbonite immobilizes the card and any card as long as it's not a leader. And then you got Good and Good to be Dead and Liberated by Darkness being nice events, where No Good locks a unit down for 2 turns, whereas Liberated by Darkness allows you to snatch one of your opponent's units, but you got to give it back at the end of the turn, but you have to use the Force to do that. Now in normal Cunning, there aren't many. There are some good cards, but they're kind of few and far between. Like, there are some really good ones, but there's not too many that. Yeah, there's not too many for the Force. Like, you have the Force units in Mysterious Hermit, Dooku, and Sorcerer's Attend. Dooku's a nice one because you can re-trigger hidden on units that you haven't played that have hidden. So re-trigger hidden is normally on the turn it's played and be attacking 2. But then if you play Dooku, you can re-trigger the hidden instead of hidden again for that turn. Mysterious Hermit, ambush, but yeah, not great. And then Sorcerer's Attend is more of it's a Force option, but it's better as a sealed card. You then got some other useful cards that could be handy, like Crafty Smuggler being a shielded unit, Greater Soldier being able to do some indirect damage, and then potentially restand if any damage goes to your opponent's base. And then Geonosis Patrol Fighter being a nice one of disrupting but bouncing units. But also remember, there are some really good events in Cunning. Like, you've got Sheen's Flurry. If you do go for Force Focus, you can then use it to Timely Adventure for green is a card that can allow you to ambush a unit, but it only works on Force units, and the nice thing is they take 2 less damage from that attack. You got Sneak Attack, be able to play any unit, have it ready, but it's defeated at the end of the turn, so it's good for things when defeated, but it's going to die unless you can bounce it back or use anything else about it. The Surprise Track being battle tricks and events, then you attack a unit and give a buff for that attack. Now there are 2 of them, be able to cheat out units by 2 turns ahead, and even Waylay as well for temporary removal. So, Cunning some good cards. Is it a good option for First Sister though? I would say it is, because even though you don't get the benefit, she doesn't have to use the Force mechanic, she doesn't really care too much about using Force units. So you can go ahead and use all the good Underworld cards, all the good units in Cunning, and not have to worry about being specific. Just she can still play things with hidden, so you can break things out at ambush but not be attacked back into, kind of keep things on the board and stick around a bit longer. So in a sense, First Sister can be used in any aspect, but is there a preferred one? So the last thing I'd like to add to the end of these videos is my preferred aspects, because any leader has a preferred way to be played for most people. And even though going through this video, sometimes people will go through and they have all this knowledge, have all this help to help understand how the build will suit them and kind of which way they want to go for the leader. But sometimes you need that little bit of extra help to still undecided, especially with a leader like Third Sister, which has any way to play her as viable. So since set 3 onwards, I've been adding my preferred aspects, because people kept asking that about if I were to play it, what would my preferred aspects be. So I thought if it's going to help people out and get that little bit of extra help to them, I'll put it in the basically go from how I would play it. So for Third Sister, if I were to play her, I will play her in Cunning. So I would play her with a Cunning base to get some benefits, like Sheer and Flurry is a way to ambush with some cool stuff in it, cheat things out for now there are 2 of them, have some cool battle trips, and even hand disruption with the Tau as well. So having some nice hand control, disruption, and even cheating things in. So that's how I play First Sister. And that is it for the video. So hopefully that's helped you understand how to build First Sister and suit you and your playstyle, and go out and just basically give it a try and test her. Now that is that for the Villainy side. Now next time we're going to go with the Heroism side, so stay tuned for tomorrow as we go over Kit Fisto as the first of the Heroism leaders. Bye for now.